So, in my view, even though I am not a Catholic myself, I think that in respect of my constituents, if the leadership of the Catholic Church requires me to present their arguments on this floor, then I should. In addition to that, these interventions were actually made by the Catholic bishops to the Constitutional Law Reform Commission, and the Constitutional Law Reform Commission refused to accept the submission from the authority of that particular Christian church, Mr. Acting Speaker. The Catholic Church represents at least 30% of the population of this country, at least. And they are the authority on matters to do with religion in terms of Christian religion. If I may, this is from the authority of the Catholic Church, and I will present this on the floor as requested by them. I will not read through the whole thing except to say that the Catholic bishops, and I quote, "Through this submission, the Catholic Bishop Conference intends to respectfully manifest that all considered, we do not deem it necessary to introduce amendments to the current PNG Constitution, particularly the preamble, the national goals, and the directive principles." Where it says, Section 45, freedom of conscience, thought, and religion. The Catholic bishops have a right to be heard on this floor.
Yes.
The Catholic citizens of East Sepik have a right to be heard on this floor. Respect him, all Catholic people blooming. And pass it on, yeah?
Go ahead.
Number one reason why all Catholic bishops, only strong, also Miminok and Senisim law, and only talk also, religious freedom is non-negotiable. We treasure our faith and we promote it. However, the language of the Constitutional Directive number 3, issued on the 11th of May 2021 by the head of state by virtue of his power under Section 12(1) of the Constitutional and Law Reform Commission Act 2004 to direct an inquiry on the declaration of Papua New Guinea as a Christian country implies that the goal of the envisioned amendments is for a revised constitution to have some sort of coercive power over those who do not immediately identify themselves as believers and Christians. Mino na bridi molgeta, me kalapi golong, narabla ting ting blong Catholic Church. Government actions to ensure that PNG citizens absolutely acknowledge God and adopt Christian values would violate the religious freedom guaranteed in the Constitution itself at Section 45. Mino na bridi molgeta, behind me can table him, mi kalapi go down. B. Government actions to ensure that PNG citizens absolutely acknowledge God and adopt Christian values would violate the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, of which Papua New Guinea is a signatory. C. Government actions to ensure that PNG citizens absolutely acknowledge God and adopt Christian values would violate teachings and documents of the Catholic Church, such as the Vatican Council declares that the human person has a right to religious freedom. This freedom means that all men are to be immune from coercion on the part of individuals or of social groups or of any human power, in such a way that no one is to be forced to act in a manner contrary to his own beliefs, whether privately or publicly, whether alone or in association with others within due limits. The preamble to the Constitution already pledges to guard and pass on Christian principles. Number 3, Christianity in Papua New Guinea is constituted of a variety of groups. It would be inappropriate and oppressive for the government to decide which set of beliefs counted as acknowledging God and adopting Christian values. For example, most mainline churches oppose polygamy. Would all PNG citizens be forced to adopt monogamy? What about the death penalty or other issues on which opinions sharply differ? Some Christians would support the death penalty, while others would not. Who would decide which group of Christians is correct? Is it the government of the day? That is simply unthinkable. Moving on. Number 4, the Constitution was inspired and drafted by good Christian leaders. Strong Christian values are already present in the Constitution. They are expressed in the language of laws and rights, which is proper for a founding legal document. The Constitution is not a theological document. Hebrew and Christian scriptures that are ours now speak repeatedly of showing mercy, especially to the poor and unfortunate, practicing justice. Moving on. Proposal. In our view, there is no need for constitutional amendments to declare Papua New Guinea a Christian country. It already is one.
Yes, yes.
As Jesus told Pilate, "My kingdom is not of this world." It is inappropriate for the government to use its coercive powers and the courts to ensure that its citizens adopt certain religious practices and beliefs. It is not that I want merely to be called a Christian, but to actually be one. Yes, if I prove to be one, then I can have the name, campfire, cross, battling with wild beasts, wrenching of bones, mangling of limbs, crushing of my whole body, cruel tortures of the devil. Only let me get to Jesus Christ. This is a quotation from Ignatius of Antioch, dated 108 years after Christ. While superseding the idea of constitutional amendments, a public declaration of renewed Christian commitment could be made and promoted by the churches in cooperation with the Parliament and the government on Independence Day, the 16th of September of every year. This would aim at upholding the true spirit of the constitutional preamble to guard and pass on to those who come after us our noble traditions and the Christian principles, and pass on to those who come after us. And reminding everyone of the constant efforts at humility, conversion, and inclusiveness that comes with it. Mr. Acting Speaker, Minoman Lolotu, Mr. Deputy Speaker, Tasolmi Karim, Tok Blongolain Isailidim Church, no province for me, he can put him here. Bami table him. And I want to say to all those Christians that are in this house, one man much wiser than me once said, "One am something blow Caesar, you blow give him lo Caesar. One am something blow God, you blow give him lo God." This la house, built after the Abelam tradition, am house blow Caesar. Larim something blow Caesar, you no can mix with them something blow God.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. No.
Listening to the letter to this Parliament by the Catholic Church, there's a lot of substance in there. We cannot overlook those substances. I think what they're saying does make a lot of sense. At the same time, you look at the bill doesn't hurt anyone. Probably we put those two together, the bill does take into consideration the views of the Catholic Church. And Catholic Church is a very big population in Papua New Guinea. And this Parliament can consider the views. But the law that address the preamble of the Constitution by identifying Papua New Guinea as a Christian country, it probably does not really hurt the Catholic view. If you look at the law and look at the views raised by the Catholic view, probably they are in the same area, but the Catholic view is just cautioning that let's be careful, that let's not impinge on the freedom of people choosing to believe what they want to believe. That is the view. But if you look at the bill before the Parliament, it really does not breach that right or that freedom, but it does give a name in the term of religion that this country can be called a Christian country.